They were the family that fully lived up to its name. You have a father-daughter combo that's capable of completely freezing the core of the earth itself, and a mother that has a heart of snow. But hey, they are called the Snow family. What else did you expect? So if you want to find out how they came to be, here is the flash full backstory of the Snow family. Let's dive right into it, shall we? Dr. Thomas Snow.
I guess as you're all here,
Thomas Snow is the guy that started the legacy, the cold-hearted legacy that almost killed the Flash. The cold powers didn't run in the family until Thomas made it so. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's start slow and try to build our way up. Let's go back to the place where the family was formed. Dr. Thomas Snow was a young geneticist when he fell in love with one of the female scientists he worked with. Her name was Carla Tannhauser. Character-wise, they were different. Carla wanted the nice things in life, while Thomas had the simplest of taste. He was satisfied if he could get a peanut butter and jelly waffle for lunch. She, on the other hand, hated this. She thought it was beneath her. However, we all know what they say. Opposites attract. And so, Thomas and Carla got married sometime in the early 80s. They had a good marriage and they got along just fine. Their marriage got even better when the little girl by the name of Caitlin was born on February 28, 1989. Thomas was ecstatic, and so was Carla. He used to spend hours upon hours with his little princess. They would tuck in the bed and watch Christmas movies together. Watching the starry skies through her father's telescope became one of Caitlin's favorite father-daughter activities. But aside from having fun, Caitlin loved watching her father work and teach her about science. Fun fact alert: while he was teaching Caitlin about the periodic table of elements, they created a little game for themselves. In it, they created their own periodic table of elements, which Caitlin later used to find her father. While we're on the subject of clues, we should start mentioning the fact that Dr. Thomas Snow smashed that like button just like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, Thomas was actually hiding a dangerous secret. You see, he was suffering from ALS, and he didn't want anyone in the family to know about this. He only told his wife. And speaking of which, Carla Tannhauser.
Keep emotion out of this. Believe me, it's for your benefit.
We talked a little bit about Caitlin's mom in the previous segment, but we didn't really uncover a lot about her character. So, let's talk about how she dealt with her husband's illness. Since Thomas was a geneticist, he actually knew that cryogenics was the only solution. Using the cold, he knew he could slow down the sickness and he could actually revert the entire process. But something went wrong, and the cryogenics turned him into a metahuman, which went by the name of Icicle. All while the ALS was still rampant. A few years after fighting, the disease worsened, and Thomas tried hiding all of the symptoms from his family. The only one who knew about them was his dear wife Carla, and she fought side by side with her dear husband to end the sickness. It seemed like Thomas was no longer in there. It was all Icicle, the alter ego that almost ruined that picture-perfect father she once had. So resistance was futile. Even with all the knowledge in the world, she couldn't save Thomas. He died back in 1999 when Caitlin was only 10 years old, and Carla didn't know how to handle the loss. The only thing that kept her going was work. She spent every single minute of every single day working like there was no tomorrow, and yet somehow she still couldn't shake off the feeling of her husband's loss. And there was another hidden cost to her workaholism. She neglected her daughter. Suddenly, Caitlin found herself in an estranged family, with no fatherly love and a mother who she barely saw at home. Carla became an estranged mother, and when Caitlin finally confronted her about the years of neglect, she only shrugged her shoulders, broke down, and admitted that she worked so much because she didn't know what to do after her husband, Caitlin's dad, passed away. We've talked a fair amount about her parents, but let's see who was the girl that suffered all of this trauma. Caitlin Snow.
Knock on something. Expecting.
We know her as the bioengineer at Star Labs. That's always been a part of Team Flash, until she wasn't. Here's what we mean by that. Her story began by searching for her long-lost father. She saw him one time by accident and she thought she was going insane. But little did she know, her father, that's been deemed dead for 19 years, was actually alive. She kept pushing her mother to tell her what she knew, but she kept saying that her dad was long gone and that she should stop looking for a man that's passed away. Did she give up? Hell no. In fact, this made her that much more relentless. Remember the periodic table that we talked about in the part about her father? Well, this was a clue left from her dad, so she could one day find him and be reunited with him, once and for all. They were reunited, but the man revealed a deep, dark secret that Caitlin never knew about herself. Just like her dad, she had been given the gift of Frost, Killer Frost. Killer Frost and the origins.
It's your experience with Metis. What he needs.
Her dad knew that she would inherit the bad ALS genes from him, so he tried the cryogenetic therapy on his daughter. The experiment was successful, and the illness had been suppressed, but there were dangerous side effects. Just like her father, the dormant cryokinetic powers had been released, and she could freeze anything with just a touch. Her father started calling her Chione, which is the Greek goddess of snow. But the little girl didn't know about her powers, nor about what she was born with. This alter ego of hers was just like her father's alter ego of Icicle. The only time she kind of realized that she was special was during that bike accident. Caitlin was still a little girl. She was riding her bike when she suddenly fell to the ground. Her foot had been stuck in between the wheel and she couldn't move. The incoming car almost cost her her life, but her powers helped her stop it. That's when her father intervened and prevented her from seeing her reflection and realizing she was Killer Frost. After she had found her father, she uncovered her superpowers as well. That was tagged with a big price. Her Killer Frost personality took up her entire body, and she turned into a cold-blooded killer, just like her name suggests. Barry was the only one who was able to convince her that this alter ego was not part of her personality, and he was even ready to lose his life to prove his point. But before Killer Frost had a change of heart, she was out for revenge, and she was ready to kill the person that gave her life. Why? Well, for starters, her alter ego took over, and for another, Thomas was the guy that actually cursed her with it. Not to mention the fact that he tried killing both of them after holding them both captive. After that cool icy chase in the skies, Icicle even tried killing the very daughter he once loved. This didn't really go as he planned. While trying to get a jab that giant icicle through her heart, he faded away into nothingness, only to return again for one last time. The actual death of Thomas Snow. This is when Icicle was finally redeemed for everything he had done in the past. The time he abandoned his daughter. The time he almost killed her. The time he tried to kill her mother. This was the big act of redemption for him. And it happened in just the right moment. A second later, and his daughter would have been a goner. In the fight between Future Grace and Killer Frost, the Cicada blade almost wound up killing our favorite Snow family member. That's right, after a lot of fighting, Grace almost won. She threw the dagger straight at Caitlin's heart, but she didn't hit her. The reason? Her father took the hit. As we said, this final act of redemption showed us that Thomas Snow was still in there somewhere, and that he was not going to let his alter ego get in the way of him and his daughter. As he was slowly dying in his daughter's lap, she reminded him that he was supposed to go. But the only thing he replied was, "I already left once before. I left both of you. Worst mistake I made in my entire life. I wasn't going to make it again." This was the last time we saw the Snow family together on the show, and it was one of the most heartwarming moments of the show. Just as his life slowly slipped away, Caitlin knew that she still had a loving father. The only difference was, now he would be looking over his little princess from the heavenly skies above. Now that's what you call family. On a related note, we wanted to know if you think Thomas was a good or bad father. You can tell us in the comment section below. If you'd like more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.